This is Rob Risany with Intel, and I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to present here in the conversation around the value of the AxxonSoft platform. Certainly, what we saw in this showcase today was the power of what it means for us to leverage a VMS capability. Importantly, also to leverage the value of predictive models and machine learning based models to solve different problems. So naturally here, when Intel shows up, you'd expect us to spend a lot of time focused in on, the chips and how fast they are and things like that. But the reality is that for those of you here in this discussion, it's all about the end value you're providing to somebody. So yes, I will focus here at the end on the specific values that Intel brings into this area, but I want to start off with our perspective on why it is we partner with companies like AxxonSoft in the context of deployed solutions. It starts off really with our perspective of what it means to have a good experience in whatever you're trying to do. And when I say an experience, I want you to think about here, it's the summer and maybe you've gone out to a restaurant or maybe you had a driver's license that expired. When you think of the word experience, it's so easy to think about the bad ones, whether it's waiting in line, forgetting your loyalty card, forgetting your badge to get into the health club at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting transferred to yet another call center agent. Each one of these makes us frustrated. It can create challenges for us internally, but sometimes from a business standpoint, we lose time, we lose an opportunity. So how do you measure a good experience? A good experience is dependent upon the specific actions you're taking at a specific moment in time. A frictionless experience is what delivers an outcome. When we think about the concept of the edge is where value is created or captured. And when we think about the edge, we naturally, in the computer world, think about the role of things like edge computing and the value of the right kind of processing capability at the right place. But beyond that, it's all about the specific location where people come together in the context of a relevant process to create value. And the thing that you've been seeing here in the demonstration today is the role that contextual intelligence can have in dealing with real world problems. And this has been an accelerating growth of the ways that deep learning capabilities can have an impact on our daily lives. Deep learning is having a massive impact because with the increase in the capacity of our edge compute platforms, and the availability of optimization technologies like OpenVINO, we're able to take the capacity of deep learning algorithms and make them meet and even exceed the capacity of what humans have been able to do in interpreting context, better than even what was possible even just 10 years ago. With the advent of higher resolution cameras, the proliferation of video systems, also the proliferation of speech recognition technologies and other key ideas gives us more context in the places that people live, which allow us to create new values. Intel has invested significantly in OpenVINO to accelerate this journey, not because of any specific bias towards that Intel will always have the best technology, but most importantly, we want to give the builders of solutions like AxxonSoft the most flexible access to the compute platform they need for their use case. And it all starts from the premise of how deep learning impacts and interprets intelligence captured at the edge. We call that contextual intelligence. Well, what is contextual intelligence? Now, here in a discussion around VMS, and with a very educated, segment of users and buyers who are looking at technologies, it's easy to overlook what's really going on. When we use analytics, as we saw today, to recognize someone's posture, to recognize, smoke in the air, to recognize someone's a crowd or someone crossing over a line they shouldn't have. Those are events that occur. And we can leverage machine learning capabilities to do a better job of recognizing those events. Whether that's seeing, hearing, smelling, or feeling, it's all of the senses that we can equip edge compute capabilities to actually see and understand what's going on. But beyond that, it's also about understanding the conditions. It's great that you can see a car or see a license plate, but I hope you noticed in the demonstrations given today that we understand the conditions that are going around. It may be just fine that somebody has their hands in the air if they're in a health club, but if they have their hands in the air and they're standing in front of an ATM and somebody is behind them wearing a black hood, that may in fact suggest there's a holdup going on at that ATM. That's using machine learning and artificial intelligence to understand the condition that exists. This is what we mean by contextual intelligence at the edge. If we can recognize the events and conditions which occur and are captured at the endpoints, including cameras and other key devices, we're able to support the creation of smart processes. What exactly is a smart process? Well, it starts off like any story around application development with understanding that it all starts with the data that we have to make decisions. Now, historically, of course, Intel has led the market in our ability to consume and digest structured information. You know, your organization is probably sitting on petabytes of data in structured databases, maybe semi-structured information in your data lake. And now we're starting to talk about the rapid growth of unstructured content, be it audio or video or other types of information that we can capture from the intelligent edge. This breadth of data, Intel is uniquely capable of translating and making ready for the logic and models necessary to create new embedded analytics experiences. Remember, the contextual intelligence is just raw data. If I have a video stream and I present it to a user, that's no different than the first security camera that was deployed 40 years ago. What we're doing that's new now is we're using contextual analytics to interpret what's going on, to generate the kinds of events, interpret the kinds of conditions, so our systems can use and decide what kind of actions to take. I love the demonstration today in the AxxonSoft platform because it focused there at the end on the actions we can take. It's all about, do I generate rules and logic to notify somebody, alert people that something's going on, build up an evidence chain to catch the bad guy. Contextual intelligence is the start point by which we can create rich experiences. And whether that's based upon dashboards and reports that tell somebody something, whether that's creating automated actions like, you know, automatically evacuating a building, automatically calling the police, or creating the mechanism for human-driven actions. If something suspicious is going on, let's alert a human so they can decide what's going on. And importantly, make sure to put the ethics inside the ways that we use AI to interpret key data so we're not acting inappropriately. But importantly, these experiences also recognize that the world we live in is interconnected. It's interconnected via text, via email, via connections to the cloud, connections to your systems. The solutions that you create are all based upon the ways you can weave together the information that you have in your enterprise and that you can capture from the edge. And this is where Intel has put a lot of thought into our approach to accelerating deep learning adoption. The problem with deep learning is that at its core, it's fundamentally pretty simple. Let's just apply math to new types of data. And if all we were doing was applying that to create a research project, that would be fine. But the frictionless experience requires us to develop and deploy analytic models that take advantage of the inference capabilities of the models we create. And unfortunately, different kinds of use cases apply different kinds of models. Remember that we saw the use of the data in our demonstrations today to generate events and also understand conditions. Different types of models require different types of deployment requirements. And the problem is that it's very easy for us to accelerate, the very simple. It's relatively complex to deal with the very complex. But you as a developer of a solution don't want to be held back by what might be the outcome at the end. And I'm going to jump right to that far right corner in this chart right now to talk about the issue that goes on for real software and outcome developers. It all comes down to, if I build a model that knows how to interpret something, it generates an event, it understands a condition, it even potentially blends other data to take an action. Now the question is, how do you need to deploy that? It's a chicken and the egg problem, isn't it? I'm not sure how complex a model I can leverage because I'm not sure what the deployment environment's going to be. Well, what if instead of having to start with a specific set of hardware boundaries, you could focus on the application at hand and let a neutral software layer interpret exactly what needs to be done to optimize your experience for any hardware you want to leverage? The fact is if you don't start your process by understanding that there's a diverse set of requirements in a hardware and software deployment, you're going to leave opportunity for that frictionless experience on the table, which means you're not going to meet your use case specific requirements. And I'll call out, it's not just about the models, it's what you do with them. If you don't have a mechanism to leverage not only the ability to generate inference, but also take actions based upon what you see, your value of your solution, your time to market to creating value will be significantly less. And in this context of accelerating deep learning, this is the specific way that Intel goes about helping. We've invested significantly in our OpenVINO toolkit that we've made available in the open source community. We've invested in our one API architecture to make it even easier for people that are used to leveraging Intel architecture for traditional data analytics to blend that insight with new information available on the edge. The key thing is that we abstract hardware-specific optimization issues so that software developers can focus on the experience, not the hardware. Let's leave the hardware decisions to the cost of ownership and the deployment issues relevant in the OT reality that we operate in. Importantly, that includes enabling solutions to take advantage of existing hardware, reducing cost of deployment. We firmly believe that if we really want to capture this $1 trillion opportunity in the market, we have to start with the premise of helping clients leverage their existing investments. You can't throw the baby out because you want a new bath. You have to start off building from where somebody is already successful and moving to that next area. And the AxxonSoft platform is a perfect example of how you can do that. Take advantage of the data that you're already capturing in your video systems and use it in new ways. The important point here as well, and you saw this in the openness of the platform demonstrations today, Intel's whole value proposition is not just predicated on the silicon we create, but the ecosystems we enable. We help solution developers by providing an ecosystem that knows how to work together, to collaborate on high value experiences with leading software providers like what we've seen today, but supported from a host of ODMs providing leading technology from servers to edge compute to camera infrastructure, all leveraging best practices approach and best practice architecture that enables high performance deep learning inference for the specific use cases that we see that people are dealing with. So in summary here, the value of what we're doing transcends just providing really fast chips that do really great inference. What we're doing is enabling you, the solution developer, or you, the person who's thinking about how to take advantage of that data you're capturing with your camera infrastructure to do new things. At Intel, we firmly believe that By working together, we can take advantage of this next generation of data and create a lot of value. Thanks for your time today. I look forward to hearing from you with questions about how Intel and our partner ecosystem can help you experience the frictionless journey.